We're here today talking with Felix Haynes about his book, Kenneth Whiting, Remembering a Forgotten Hero of Naval Aviation and Submarines. Felix, thanks for taking some time to talk with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. This is, as I said, my second interview using media about the book. The book is getting tremendous response from readership. Not as good a response on sales, so that's why we're here today. Am I right?
There you go. Yeah, as I was checking on Amazon, I think you've got all 5-star reviews. So tell us a little bit about this 5-star book that you've written.
Well, I started the book 6 years ago, and I thought at the time that I could write it in 3 years, but COVID intervened, and there were 2 years when a lot of the research facilities that I needed to get to were closed, like the National Archives. So I had to slow down. I had to look for alternative places that I could get the information from. But I was able to do it. And 6 years later, here we're sitting here with the first biography ever written about Kenneth Whiting.
So tell us a little bit about who Kenneth was and kind of, I know there's a lot of info, you said 6 years of research, but give us just a quick overview of about Kenneth and about the book.
Well, he was well known in the Navy of his day. He served in the Navy from 1905 to 1943, Naval Academy graduate, both submarine and naval aviator qualified. Loved exciting things to do, and so he jumped in submarines first, and then he transferred to naval aviation, did all that, and then had a brilliant career in naval aviation. Made some amazing contributions to the Navy and to the United States. Interesting fellow. He was raised in Larchmont, New York, which is on Long Island Sound. And he was a great athlete in his youth, spent a lot of time swimming in the currents of Long Island Sound and the Hudson River. So he became a great swimmer. And he was a leading swimmer at the Naval Academy. And then he also was a boxer. In his neighborhood, there apparently was a lot of intramural fisticuffs that went on. He entered the Naval Academy missing 5 or 6 teeth, to show you how much he boxed. And then played football, played a lot of sports at the Naval Academy, won the athletic sword for his class, which is given for the best athlete in the class. And then his Navy career started at that point. Shall I continue?
Well, I was going to ask, how did you get interested in this? What is your connection or your inspiration behind dedicating so much time and research to this and then writing this book?
Okay. When he died tragically in the middle of World War II from meningitis, the Navy immediately began to honor him. And one of the ways they honored him was to name Whiting Field Naval Air Station after him, which is where the Navy trains all its pilots to this day, near Pensacola, Florida. The other was they named a seaplane tender, a ship after him, the USS Kenneth Whiting AB-14. And my dad served on the Kenneth Whiting for the last year and a half of the war. And we would sit around the dinner table and he'd tell us stories about the Kenneth Whiting, the Kenneth Whiting, the Kenneth Whiting. And I asked him, I said, who was Kenneth Whiting? He didn't know. No book had ever been written about him. There was a lot of diffuse facts throughout the Navy literature, but nobody ever pulled it together. And so I lost my dad in 2005. And about 2015 or 16, when I decided to write the book, I began to do research on him and pull it together. And as I did the research, I became more and more amazed about the great things he did during his career. And I said, there needs to be a book written about this man, and I'm going to write it.
Well, there you go. So it started as a personal connection with your dad serving on that ship. And then just years and years later, you being the first one, as you said earlier, which is just astonishing, the first one to write his biography. So
right. I need to give credit to his family. I was able to get in touch with several of his descendants, and they had a lot of files. His first daughter had started a biography and got sick and passed away in the 70s or 80s. And they turned over all those files to me. They also gave me social history, which makes the book much more interesting, I think. You know, we could have talked about just what he did in the Navy, but I also talk about his family and his personality and what type of man he was, and why people liked him so much. He was a very likable guy all during his career.
Well, Felix's book is available. It's available through Amazon, through Barnes & Noble, the Books app on iTunes. His book also has a webpage through his publisher, Page Publishing. But Felix, I wanted to give you just a couple more minutes if there's anything else you want to share with our audience about this book, about your research.
Well, let me tell you the thing that he's probably best known for, and he is mentioned many times in the Navy literature. He's called the father of the aircraft carrier. I don't have to tell anyone how important the aircraft carrier has been since 1925 in the United States Navy. We were attacked from 6 aircraft carriers by Japan on December 7, 1941. And we really saw then what the aircraft carrier could do. But he was the first man to envision the aircraft carrier. He made the proposal to the Navy to build an aircraft carrier. The Navy accepted that proposal after World War I, and he built the first carrier, and then, oh, by the way, he built the next 6. So he became the Navy's go-to guy on aircraft carriers as part of his career. And again, every mention of him is the father of the aircraft carrier.
Wow. Well, just thank you so much for taking time to join us, for sharing this story and writing this book. And as you said, continuing the kind of the biography that his daughter had started and getting this out there. Very interesting subject and topic, and just an important person in history. Thank you so much, Felix, for joining us.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Yes. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.